going so we can start with there. You know, that's always the problem, the multicast. So this guy is going over. Anyway, load up the question. I'll take a quick question online. Please email me if you need anything, david@dmeltzer.com. Pin that up there on Instagram, please, for my team, david@dmeltzer.com. Here on TikTok Live. Want to thank everybody here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Anyway, well, there we go. We'll see what's going on here. There we go. Anyway, let's see. There's a question. Well, thank you for joining me. All right, here we go. Here we go. It's Friday training. How should someone take stock of their values? Well, first of all, you got to know your values. Mine are gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and effective communication. Can you call Jake and ask him why the hell this guy's still not on? He has to tell them. All right. Thank you. Thank you. If you know your values, then you use those values in order to effectuate the trajectory of what you think you want, who you can help, who can help you. So here we go. Jake, please give me help, man, my friend. Thank you so much. There we go. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everybody. There we go. What is the most important skill of a leader? The most important skill of a leader is an intelligent follower. Hey guys.
Are you guys coming up next?
Yeah, we switched with the minute.
Hold on, then I'll give it over to you, David. I'll give it over to you. Let me just say this, guys. I just want to put this out there. You got Jake and David that are coming up next. If you haven't listened to David and you haven't heard him speak and you haven't looked into his coaching programs, this man is a guy that I listen to on a regular basis. He is a guy that I actually look up to, regardless of whether he knows it or not. And I listen to him, I hear his words, and I heed what he has to say. So I just want to say this, and I'm closing off. That's this. Guys, my name is Adam Smith. My purpose is to create impact, and you all are my mission today.
What's the best way to ask for help? In person, on the phone, via email, social media? Thank you, Adam, man. And I did not know that about you, and feel free to reach out at any time. And I feel the same way about you. And of course, the way that you deal with intention, and what a great intention Adam has to be here so early to help everybody. So thank you, Adam. We appreciate you. All right, Jakey of the Bakey, we are switching with Amelia. I'm back to my 6 a.m. spot, and we're going to do a little training today, takeaways of the day. But first, before we get started, Jake, I want you to thank Adam Smith, and I want you to reset the room. Let's get this thing going. Let's have a great Friday. I'm here in Barbados. We are here at the FinTech Island. We're going to have a lot of fun here. The Prime Minister's here. We got a great pitch competition to get on to 2-minute drill. Go ahead. Let's get started, Jake. What do we got today?
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. All righty. Most important skill of a leader, intelligent follower. Here we go.
Champions, the best room here on Clubhouse. Today is 6 a.m. Pacific time. David Meltzer's Hour of Power. Dave's been doing training for close to 23 years now, and he's currently live on Zoom, on Twitter, LinkedIn, of course, here on Clubhouse, on TikTok. So thank you and welcome, everybody. Today's training will be on the takeaway of the day, takeaway of the week. So if you'd like to share your takeaway of the day or week, just raise your hand or back channel me, and we will aim to bring you up. Also, let's take a minute here to share this with your friends, your family, the whole community. At the bottom here on Clubhouse, there is a share button, the little arrow. You can push that. You can share it on Twitter, Facebook, messages. And then, of course, you can share the link here on Clubhouse. So let's take a minute. Let's share this room. Let's use the chat. Let's use the back channel. Let's create an engaging, incredible community here on Clubhouse. So with that in mind, I'll pass it back over to you, Dave, if you want to share your takeaway of the day /week, and we will aim to bring as many people up as possible to share theirs as well. So welcome, everybody.
All right. My favorite takeaway of the week, because what I have found
Dave,
is...
you're on mute. You're on Clubhouse.
Oh, it didn't come unmuted. Here we go. I was going to say my favorite is takeaway of the week because I think a lot of people, as I'm traveling around, forget the importance of messages and lessons. And, what I want people to do today when they get the takeaways of the week from others is to write down the ones or to capture the ones or reposit the ones that resonate with you. Don't write everyone down. Don't reposit everyone, and don't write none of them down. Just reposit the ones that resonate with you. And then more importantly, let's all create a system to access those lessons, those messages that resonate with you, that mean something to you. And if you make a habit of capturing or repositing or writing down the lessons that resonate with you each day and create a system to access them, you're going to accelerate in a trajectory far faster than just pretending because I wrote down everything that they said or didn't write down anything, that you're going to be able to remember, recollect, and remind what resonates with you to expand, grow, and accelerate, to learn lessons, to be your best, and to most importantly, have fun and be happy. Anyway, my takeaway for the week is something that I thought of, and it's a counterintuitive, counterproductive, and conflictual side of what people's perceptions are. What do I mean by that? It's how, David, are you at ease, but you work so hard, or you have activity that you do so much of, or you're so productive? How is it that you can be at ease, but it's not easy? And that's my takeaway. And let me explain what that takeaway means. How can you be at ease if it's not easy? Well, it's not easy, and you have to be at ease in order to effectuate easy. And so this counterintuitive, counterproductive, counterconflictual idea of being at ease, even though it's not easy, stems from understanding and led me to the biggest epiphany that I've had in a while, which is time is the only dependent variable of the trillions of variables that exist today. Time is the only dependent variable. It is the only variable that we can quantify all that's objective and all that's subjective. Time is the only way that we do it. And the distinguishment of time lies between at ease and being not easy, meaning that time itself that is existing in three different realms: the past, the present, and the future. Time exists in all realms of infinity and abundance. Time exists in a different way in the past, present, and future, but still in the present allows us to use it as a dependent variable. What do I mean by this about being at ease but not being easy? What do I mean by time being a dependent variable that allows us to quantify our progress, our acceleration towards what we think we want, our improvement, our lessons? How is this all possible? Well, first, time is the infinite variable of our past, limited only by the meaning that we give these defined moments. Well, how do we distinguish? How do we quantify how well or what meaning aligned with or synergistic or supplementary to where we want to be? We're using our past. And it's how much time, as a dependent variable, how much time are we spending outside of the correct meaning of our past? How much time are we giving a interfering meaning to our past that deters us, resists us, creates void shortages and obstacles for us to project ourselves, accelerate into a future that we want? And so if we look at time as a quantifiable, dependent variable in our past, to see the progress that we're making, saying, man, I used to spend weeks just in my own way. I can't get over this in my past. I still see myself, as just a loser because I lost over $100 million and went bankrupt. Or am I just spending minutes and moments in that fear-based consciousness, giving the wrong meaning only for minutes and moments, not days, weeks, months, or years of inflection points, defining moments of my past that may have occurred in snapshots of high school friends or my family or my siblings or my parents or whatever it is. So understanding that you can be at ease the majority of the time, but it's not easy. is really essential. It's a great takeaway to give the right meaning of our past in order to accelerate to a future that we want. In the present, it's especially applicable in the fact that it is only limited, the present is only limited by the 24 hours that we're given, a collective consciousness, a man-made construct that everybody on earth adheres to, the man-made construct of time, 24 hours. And so if we can tell ourselves that it's not going to be easy to be productive, accessible, and gracious, but the more time I spend at ease, identifying fear and utilize it, either the ability to get me up, get me back up, get me started, get me back started, or utilizing it to get out of my own, to be at ease while I'm still productive, accessible, and gracious, while I'm efficient, effective, and statistically successful, while I'm doing my best to learn lessons and have fun, while I'm putting everything in the empty mile every single day. I'm not going the extra mile every once in a while, because I think that if easy is ease, easy is not ease. Being at ease is not easy, and easy is not being at ease. Being productive, accessible, and gracious allows you to be at ease. Being at ease allows you to access the most powerful, omniscient, all-knowing, omnipresent source of power that you have, an omniscient, all-knowing power that protects and promotes you at all times, puts you in a better place, a better situation, accelerates you in that trajectory. So now we know time in the past is a dependent variable to the subjective meaning that we give our past. And time, of course, is the best way to understand the minutes and moments we spend outside of productivity, accessibility, and gratitude. And of course, time can be a dependent variable for our future, the infinite future that we have, because getting out of our own way is the only way to put us at ease, because the only thing that deters us, sets void, shortages, and obstacles of resistance, the only thing that stops us from being where we want to be, to a better place, a better situation, in a trajectory of what we think we want in the future, an outrageous, audacious future that we should dream of, by using the practicality of the day and the meaning of the past to get there. Time is the dependent variable, because we can determine how much time are we spending in our own way, because we're the only limitation of our future. We've always been the only limitation of our future. That's why we have to enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of our potential, taking these takeaways to be at ease. But it's not easy to be at ease. And it does take the consistent, persistent pursuit of our potential. Therefore, if we can enjoy that, we can be at ease while we're consistent and persistent in the pursuit of that potential, utilizing time as a dependent variable to give different meanings more of the time to our past, to utilize time in the present, and to have and utilize infinite time in the future with audacious, outrageous objectives in a trajectory towards those. So I want everybody to think about, number one, time as a dependent variable, and then two, it ain't easy to be at ease. And that's the antithesis of the counterproductive, counterintuitive, counterconflictual idea of how can it not be easy to be at ease, because you have to utilize all that productivity, accessibility, and gratitude to be at ease, and utilize time as a dependent variable. Hopefully I did not confuse too many people too many of the times. I try my best to meet people where they're at. This one's a little bit ethereal, a little bit out there. So if you do have questions, I'm more than happy. I created a guide about being at ease, about utilizing the ability to identify fear and utilize it in the correct manner, and utilize time as a dependent variable. So just email me to understand it's not easy to be at ease, but when you're at ease, you will be at please. You will allow everything you want to happen rapidly and accurately. All right, Jakey Bakey, that's my takeaway. It's time to let everyone else share what they've learned. Let's make sure that we are codifying, repositing what resonates with you, and creating a system to access it. Go ahead, reset the room, and let's bring up the first takeaway.
Let's do it. That was an incredible share, Dave. I took notes there. It's easy is not ease, and being at ease is not easy. And if anyone wants that training or guide from Dave, you can just email him, david@dmeltzer.com, david@dmeltzer.com. I'll quickly reset the room, everybody. This is the Breakfast with Champions, 6 a.m. Pacific time, 9 a.m. Eastern time. David Meltzer's Hour of Power. Welcome, everyone. If you can, let's take a minute to share the room. At the bottom there, there's a share button. Let's continue to share here on Clubhouse. share in your text messages, share it on Facebook, on Twitter, all your favorite social media sites. And let's continue this incredible topic today, which is your takeaway of the week. So David wants to hear everyone's takeaway. So if you have a takeaway you want to share, just raise your hand or back channel me and we will aim to bring you up. So let's start with our first takeaway of the week. We've got Kyle Sullivan in the room. Kyle, if you can please unmute yourself and welcome to the Breakfast of Champions.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jake. Thanks, David, for that share. As you were talking, my big takeaway of the week is that the prize is in the process. And being able to use all of the time, the lessons of the past, the lessons of the present, is that journey. And there's nobody that is further ahead of you that's ever going to boo at you. So the loudest boos come from the cheapest seats. And so as we are all pushing for understanding that we are playing chess, not checkers, how we get ahead of the game of life and success that we're looking to build, there's nobody that's ahead of you that's ever going to boo for what you're pushing for. And so understanding that if they are booing, then it is something in them that they have to deal with. It's not about you. So keep pushing, understanding that you are the reason. You are the reason that it has been placed inside of you for a purpose and a reason and a season, and that the prize is truly in the process of growth. And that's been my biggest lesson this week and biggest takeaway. Thank y'all.
I love that. The process is the habit machines. Our behaviors compound and aggregate upon themselves. And if we don't have process, we don't have consistent and persistent process. But beyond that, if we look behind us and are stumbling over the speed bumps behind us, the boos behind us, we're going to have enough boos in front of us, but the boos behind it, I always say, why is it that every hater, if given the pragmatic choice to switch with me, would? But yet they're hating, they're attacking, they're judging and putting conditions on me. But if I took my life pragmatically and said, hey, you can have my houses, you can have my money, you can have my family, you can have my health, you can have my profession, you can have all this, not putting my name to it, of course, because it's the name that attracts the attacks. It's the name that gets the judgments and conditions and the separation of the ego-based consciousness that creates a separation of inferiority, superiority that lies within that person, not within me. But the boos are the bumps behind me, and I'm not going to stumble over the bumps behind me because I know if I listed out who I am and what I am doing to empower other people to be happy and said, hey, not a name, but a list of capabilities, would you switch your capabilities with mine? Most of the booers, if not every single one, would say, well, that's what I'm dreaming about. I'd love to have all of that. Then why are you booing the name? Why are you booing the name? Are you like me in 2006, looking at a jacket with no pockets after everybody told you that money does not buy love or happiness, that you are a person who hates their own family, hates their friends, hates their own wife, and then realize that you hate yourself? I know what it's like. I've been there in 2006. I was worth over $100 million, hating on everybody, judgment, condition, and separation, and realized as I looked at a gift that was given to me when I was 30 years old by my dad, that I hate myself. So don't stumble on those bumps behind you. Don't stumble on the boos behind you as well. Just learn to love you and do what you can do to relieve the boos, and just allow yourself to do your best, learn lessons, and have fun. Surround yourself with the right people and the right idea. Join our community here on Breakfast of Champions, a community of sponsors and power sponsors, people that want to help each other and people that know people who want to help us. So let's make that happen. Kyle, you made me smile. Thanks so much for joining us and kicking off with an unbelievable takeaway. Remember, if Kyle's takeaway resonates with you, then reposit it and figure out a system to access it. If it doesn't, it's time for the next takeaway. Jake, who do we got?
Perfect. I love that nickname, by the way, too, Dave. Kyle, you made me smile. That's a great one. All right, let's bring up Lori. Lori, if you could please unmute yourself and welcome to the clubhouse to share your takeaway of the week.
Oh, thank you so much. This is my first time in this room, and I am so fired up. And I love that I'm repositing So my takeaway for the week has to do with the intention that I set for myself. I have been a person who has been ruled by my fear of failure. And so this is something that I've really been working on. And I think what I have really noticed in myself this week is when I shift my perspective to celebrating failure, that has opened me up to looking at what is the opportunity for growth. It's not a commentary on my abilities. It's not a commentary on my weaknesses. As a matter of fact, it's shifted me, it's helped me access the understanding that every part of me is a part of who I am becoming. And David, I really appreciated just your perspective on time, because time can do so much. You know, I've spent a lot of time in the past and regret and shame and guilt. I spent a lot of time in the future with worry and fear and doubt. And so by doing this, it's allowed me to stay in the present, to stay focused on what's right in front of me so I can move. I can have momentum. I don't stay stuck. And as long as I'm moving, I am successful. I'm always learning. I'm always growing. So thank you for this room. I'm really excited. I'm definitely going to keep coming back. And with that, I am complete.
You certainly are. And I think you complete us as well with that understanding.
Dave,
of
you're on mute. You're on Clubhouse.
Oh my goodness. I really got to learn how to use this thing. It's only been a few years. So I was going to say you complete us, not to give a Jerry Maguire illusion. More importantly, though, thank you. Thank you for joining us. We have been building this community, and to have a member that's so excited and energetic really fits in and resonates with this frequency. Remember, your frequency is a neighborhood. And thank you for reminding, recollecting, and remembering this group about the importance of identifying what our fears are. Because if we don't identify what our fears are, we can't utilize it, right? The utilization of fear has a dual purpose. One is to get up, get back up, get started, and get back started, because fear is an incredible fuel that fires us up. But it also is, the majority of the time, utilizing time as a dependent variable, the mechanism, the identification of fear is the mechanism to utilize getting out of our own way. Because if we can learn to stop when we identify the fear, not resist it, not fight it, not try to go over it, under it, through it, around it. Don't lie to fear. Don't cheat fear. Don't deny fear. Simply stop. Remind, remember, and recollect, just like Lori told us. Remind, remember, and recollect to the greatest source, the omniscient, all-powerful, all-knowing source. Remind, remember, and recollect to what you want today in a trajectory of the future, utilizing time as a dependent variable to give the meaning and also the activities of what you do, say, think, believe, and feel towards the outrageous, audacious future that only beholds you, that you can get out of your own way. So in order to do so, we need to identify fear, and we have to be in the practice of identifying fear. Utilizing time is the dependent variable of saying, man, I'm getting better because I didn't spend all day in fear. I didn't spend all day with a need to be right, offended, separate, inferior, superior, separate, anxious, frustrated, angry, guilty, resentful. I didn't waste all that time in fear. I utilized it to get up, and then I utilized it to get me there with what I wanted, who I can help, who can help me, how to best get that done. Now I can prioritize my now, increasing my efficiency, effectiveness, and statistical success, knowing that 100% of the things I do now get done. Therefore, prioritization is the antidote to procrastination and overwhelmed. And now, instead of in search of stuff that I already have, I'm not in search of my why, I'm applying my why by identifying fear and using time as a dependent variable to see how much time I'm spent or doing or saying or thinking or feeling or believing fear, instead of what I want, who I can help, who can help me, and how best to get that done. Thank you, Lori, so much for reminding, remembering, recollecting this group, of how important this group is, but also in the practice of identifying fear. Jakey Bakey, if I can remember to unmute this and mute this, we'll be fine, but you're doing an extraordinary job. Let's all flash our mics for Jake. Let's reset the room, Jake. 25 years old. This guy's up at 5 in the morning with me, getting prepared to serve our community of sponsors and power sponsors.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you for that. And incredible questions and takeaways of the week so far, everybody. Let's continue to share. Let's continue to share the room, share your takeaways of the week. This is the 6 a.m. Pacific time, 9 a.m. Eastern time, David Meltzer's Hour here on Breakfast with Champions, the best room here on Clubhouse. Let's continue to share the room. At the bottom there, there is a share button. You can share it on text messages. You can share it on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. And also, if you don't get a chance to share your takeaway of the week this week, just email david@dmeltzer.com, david@dmeltzer.com. We've got an incredible community here. So let's continue to share the room, share your takeaways of the week. And then, Dave, I'll pass it back to you. Do you want to take a question on Zoom, and then we'll bring up our next guest, who's Gigi here on Clubhouse?
Yeah, of course. I'll go ahead and take a quick question. Hopefully we've sparked some interest of what we're doing and how we're doing it. This is an interesting one, is what does an intelligent follower look like? And the reason that that's asked is that I believe that great leaders are intelligent followers. A great leader asks questions, is not only co-creating, collaborating, coordinating, but they're curious. And they're curious about what you're doing today, what you like about it, what don't you like it, and how you can do it better in the trajectory of what you want, or in alignment with the collective consciousness of a group, a business, or a community in which wants to effectuate a mission to maybe make a lot of money or help a lot of people or have a lot of fun, or all of the above. And what an intelligent follower looks like is someone who is open-minded and is constantly a hypocrite because they're learning so much, utilizing the repository and access of their repository to learn, to get to a better place, a better position, or make someone else's place better or their position better. And an intelligent follower is an open heart. So not only are they doing, saying, and thinking with an open mind, but they're believing and feeling with an open heart. Their crown as a leader is not on their head, the crown is on their heart, so that they can connect at a deeper level, an emotional level, by asking not only what it is that we want or you want, but what do you like and what don't you like, so we can figure out how we can be of service of each other, to each other, or find someone that can be. And so an intelligent follower or leader has an open mind and an open heart, but they also, one of the most overlooked things, they have open hands. In other words, they live in abundance. Remember, open hands are ones that can give and receive. And so not only do they appreciate everything that they have and add value to it, because the word appreciation means to add value and expand, but they also acknowledge everything. They acknowledge everything, and the only way that you can acknowledge what you have is to not have it anymore. So of course they give it away, but they also learn from it being lost, stolen, cheated, or manipulated from them. They have lessons that resonate with them, and they can access those not only for themselves, but to pay it forward, the dummy tax that they've received from the acknowledgement of not having it anymore. These open hands allow you not only to appreciate, but to acknowledge. And also open hands, like I said, not only give, but they receive. So they teach you to ask for more. In person, on the phone, via email, traditional, social media. Ask for what you want. Refill the vessel so you can give even more, because you can't give what you don't have. You can't give what you didn't receive. And you can't receive without appreciation, acknowledgement, to expand your vessel to receive more. You have to have the appreciation and acknowledgement in order to ask for more. And you get to ask for more so you can give more as well. Intelligent followers are great leaders. Great leaders have open minds, open hearts, where they wear their crown, and open hands. They coordinate, collaborate, they're curious, and they're co-creators. That's what an intelligent follower is. That's what every great sage and leader are. And if you look at yourself, look within to see how well we're expanding, growing, and accelerating, learning the lessons as intelligent followers, someday you'll see yourself as a tremendous leader. Thank you, Jake. I'm ready for the next takeaway.
Let's do it. Let's bring on Gigi. Gigi, if you can please unmute yourself and share your takeaway of the week. Welcome.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
Everyone. Good morning. Good afternoon, wherever you are in the world.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to you.
My biggest takeaway for this week is if someone loves you, doesn't mean they give you the best advice. Which took me a long time to learn it. And I think it was the first time I didn't react to it. I just received what the other person say. And in my mind, it's like they're coming from a good place. And instead of attacking them, I was like, okay, where they are right, where I need to improve, and what's not useful for me. And that actually helped me to prepare forward and learn from it and look at where I'm not good enough. So it was actually the best takeaway, and I'm happy after so many years I managed to not feel attacked by it, but also learn from it. So that was a great one.
Oh, well, I love that one. And I've learned that lesson myself from early on when my own mother, when I graduated law school, told me that I should definitely be a litigator, take a job in litigation that I was offered and not work in the internet in 1992. She actually told me that the internet would never be used for research, that you had to use books to do research as a teacher and educator. That was her belief. And she also told me the internet was a fad. It would never last. She told me the internet was not a place to put my capabilities, skills, knowledge, and desire, that I would end up in void shortages and obstacles. And it really taught me not only that just because someone loves us, they don't give us good advice, but it also taught me an important lesson about ignorance. Because there's two types of people, ignorant people and ignorant people. There's ignorant, arrogant people that don't know what they don't know, but they pretend like they do. And then there's ignorant, humble people that don't know what they don't know, and they ask for help from people that do know about it. So if they need help in the internet, they find someone that knows about the internet. If they need help in cars, they ask someone that knows about cars. And what's so interesting about just because somebody loves you but doesn't give you good advice is that sometimes the most ignorant and arrogant people in our lives have the best intention. Our parents, our siblings, our closest friends, because they only want the best for us. In fact, your pain is worse than their own pain, especially parents. They would rather cut their finger off than have you sprain your wrist. And so this creates this ignorant, arrogant attitude with people who love us so much because they're so afraid for us. They're more afraid for us than we are for ourselves. And so they pretend like they know what they're talking about. And so they'll tell you things like the internet's a fad. You'll never do research on the internet. You need books to do research. They'll tell you that you got to go to college or law school. You got to be a doctor or a lawyer or a failure. They'll tell you things to protect you out of love. But the truth is, sometimes just because someone loves you, not only doesn't mean they give you good advice, but it means they're ignorant and arrogant and they're looking out. They're too afraid for you. And so what do we do with this lesson, this takeaway that Gigi is experiencing and really has heard for years and is really improving upon the aspect of it? What do? We treat people that love us and their advice like a handful of sand. We embrace it, we grab it, we feel it, we say, thank you so much for caring so much about me that your ignorant arrogance is projected upon me, even though it's bad advice, to help me. And so what do? I hold that sand. And when I realize that it's bad advice, that it's a person that doesn't sit in a situation that can give me directions to where they are. My mom has never been in business. She didn't know anything about business, didn't know anything about the internet. All she knew was she loved her son so much, she didn't want him to take any risk or be hurt. So I treat it like a handful of sand and I let it fall through my fingers with gratitude. Thank you, Mom, so much for caring so much about me and projecting your ignorant arrogance out of fear onto me, but I'm going to let that one slide through. And then when I do get something that resonates with me, as we started this room, when I do get a lesson, a message that resonates with me from somebody who sits in a situation that I want to be in so that they can give me the directions on how to get there, I hold on to that grain. That's one of the grains I hold on to. I put it into my repository and I utilize the system to access it later. But just because someone loves me doesn't mean they're giving me good advice, doesn't mean they're ignorant and arrogant. The ignorant, humble person like ourselves knows that we don't know what we don't know, but we have to find people who do know and sit in a situation that we want to be in and hold on to the grains of sand from those people, the directions to get to where they are, and live in gratitude for all the advice, for anyone that cares enough to take their most precious time to give us their advice, but utilize it as a handful of sand and let it fall through our fingers, holding on to the grains of sand in a repository that can be accessed later. Gigi, I love to see the layers of your onion peel off. It's so nice that you join us from around the world. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon or evening. Thank you for joining us here on Clubhouse. Jakey Bakey, give Gigi a big kiss for us and let's move on to the next person.
Gigi, thank you so much as always. You are incredible. And Gigi's takeaway of the week was just because someone loves you doesn't mean they give you good advice. So thank you so much, Gigi. Let's take on our next takeaway of the week. There's so many people that want to pour into the community and share with them. So thank you everybody for raising your hands and sharing. Let's go to Dammy Rock. Dammy, if you can please unmute yourself and welcome to the Clubhouse.
Hello, I found the mute button, having the same issue as David was. Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for the space. My takeaway of the week this week is just start. And I say it with a little bit of a bitter twist in my mouth because I'm starting now, but you know, and there's no point looking back to when I hadn't started. But when you do just start, you realize that wow, it's just the starting that makes it all happen. And so I had to find a way though, because I was procrastinating and I had this real deception in my perfection, right? And you know, it's not ready yet, nothing's ready yet, and it's got to be perfect. And so the way I learned to just start was like I decided to reverse engineer it. So what was my goal? My goal was to have this to launch my Zoom and have you know, my masterclass, which is tell the story that you were born to live. It's true story time. And so like why am I doing that? So my realization was like, this is what brings me joy, and it gives me an opportunity to serve. And in serving, I'm able to do what I love best, which is talk about documentaries. So I've created a space, a Zoom space that people can come in and tell this story that they were born to live and make it into a documentary. And so in reverse engineering that, I realized that, okay, this is my end goal. So what do I want people to do? I want them to leave a legacy. And so how am I going to do that? I need to be accountable because my procrastination and perception and perfection wasn't really going anywhere. And I was trying to hack it with willpower and it didn't work. And so I made myself accountable. And so there's many ways we can do this. I jumped on a course with Forbes Riley. So I made myself accountable that way and said, I'm going to do this. I also, you know, brought friends into the mix so that they know that, you know, they expect to see me Fridays at 3 p.m. on Zoom. And I told other people about it who were like, yes, I would love to also tell the story I was born to live. And so in making myself accountable, I just don't want to let people down. And so that became the hack that I used. And so in this reverse engineering, now I've got to my accountability stage. I'm like, okay, the next part is to make the flyers, set it up. And so yes, I haven't done all of those things on time and the way I want them, but because I just started and I made myself accountable, come rain or shine, it's happening today at 3 p.m. On Zoom, and people can go check my link in the bio. I did it last week and I'm making sure I do it every single week. And so I'm so glad to have got that hack. So that's my hack for today. That's my takeaway. Make yourself accountable. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Jake.
I love it. And lowering the bar, knowing and prioritizing as an antidote to procrastination, knowing, as you say, reverse engineering the what is it that I want, who can I help, who can help me, and how best to get this done allows you to prioritize. And lowering the bar to saying, look, I'm just going to show up, and whoever else wants to tell that story of their life, the lessons that they've learned, then they're going to show up at 3 p.m. on your Zoom. And it's a classic example of how prioritization is the antidote to procrastination, knowing what's important to you and reverse engineering it, but also lowering the bar. You don't have to have a million people and it doesn't have to be perfect. I hear that all the time. I have so many friends that are writing books, so many clients of mine that I work with, and they want to wait until it's perfect. Well, guess what? The universe is infinite. It's never perfect. So you got to lower the bar, lower your expectations, lower the demand that you're putting onto it, so you can get started. And you can't get started unless you have the first step. The first step means you need to know the first, which means you need to know to prioritize. Prioritization is the antidote to procrastination, of feeling overwhelmed, of perfection. So you can figure out, okay, let's reverse engineer this. What is it I actually want? Who can I help, and who can help me with what I want, and how best to get it done? And all of a sudden, we show up on Zoom at 3 p.m. every week. And remember, remind and recollect one thing: accountability is your participation in the perception. It's not you attracting something. It's not punishment. It's not even responsibility. Responsibility is the ability to respond to the circumstances and actions and reactions that are occurring every day. Accountability is much bigger and much greater. It is your participation in that perception, the prioritization that comes from that perception, and your ability to lower the bar, get started, take the first step of what, who, and how. And all of a sudden, there you are at 3 p.m. now, helping people, creating a community to help people, and getting more people who know more people to help people. Congratulations. Perfect execution on getting started. And what a great takeaway for everyone else, because nothing's going to happen unless you get started, and you can't get started unless you know how to prioritize the first step. Thank you. Jake, reset the room. Let's make sure people can get the guide to the takeaways of the day, be able to have the 5 daily practices, make sure they have our email. Let's reset the room and bring the next person up.
Let's do it, Dave, and thank you for sharing Dammy Rock. As mentioned, if anyone would like any of the guides, the takeaway of the day guide, takeaway of the week, just email david@dmeltzer.com, david@dmeltzer.com. Welcome, everybody. This is the Breakfast with Champions. It is 6:43 a.m. Pacific time. It's great to have everybody here. This is the best room on Clubhouse, the Breakfast with Champions. Let's continue to share the room here on Clubhouse, on messages, on Twitter, on LinkedIn. We are really creating an incredible community here on Clubhouse. So this week's training and topic is your takeaway of the week. So if you'd like to share your takeaway of the week, just back channel me or raise your hand, and we will aim to bring you up. So with that in mind, this is an incredible room. Why don't we take a question, one more takeaway of the week here, and then Dave, if you want to take a question on the Zoom training. Let's bring up Mike. Mike, if you're here, please unmute yourself and share your takeaway of the week. Welcome.
Good morning, and happy Friday, everyone. It is an elaboration of exactly what you just said, so thank you for that with regard to prioritization and perfection. Years ago, probably 30 years ago, lifetimes and careers before what I do today, we were going to produce our first record, our first album, and we had $1,200 allocated to produce the song. And we went into the studio and did everything we could, and my partner, when we finished, said, you know what, if we just save up another $300, we can go in and we can make it even better. And so we saved up, and we went in about 2 weeks later and did it. And then he did that again and again, and we kept going up incrementally, $300, more, better, until finally the guy who owned the studio said, stop, I'm not going to do it anymore. This song is excellent, put it out. He said, in life, strive for perfection, settle for excellence. This is excellence, so keep moving forward. So thank you for that. That's my takeaway, and happy Friday.
Thank you, Mikey. What a great takeaway, right? It's progress, not perfection. And if a point or a milestone in the trajectory of perfection is the progress of good or great or excellence, you can determine that of when to go ahead and to take that first step towards execution. And I think a lot of people don't take that mindset that you have of progress, not perfection, but they also don't, like you have, hit a milestone. And to have a trajectory is so important, an open-minded, open-hearted, and open-handed trajectory of being able to make the alterations and adjustments like you did on your album. But there becomes a point in the trajectory that you need to take the first step. And I think your takeaway is so complimentary to Danny's in the respect that we have to put ourselves into the imperfection to reach our best or our potential, but perfection only exists in the infinite. And that allows us to enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of that infinite, that potential, that truth. What a great takeaway, which is why you have had such abundance and such success in your career and your life. Thank you very much for joining us. If you haven't followed Mike Mamula, you should. He has some great lessons. He's a great speaker. And I look forward to someday reading Mike Mamula's book and his story. Maybe you should join Danny at Zoom on 3 p.m. to start telling his story and teaching his story and the lessons that are within, because this guy has a lot of nuggets to drop. All right, Jake, let's keep on moving forward. You want me to take a question? What do you want me to do?
Yeah, Dave, do you want to take a question on the Zoom training, and then we'll bring up Noah Crane when you're back here to share her takeaway of the week.
Absolutely. So October represents to me 23 years of doing free trainings, mostly on Friday. I call it Free Friday training, but I've done some on Saturday and some on Wednesdays, but Thursdays. But most of all, over 23 years now, it's our anniversary, 23 years of doing these free trainings. And it started with a big number 2 people. And we have also within 23 years broken the 70,000 person mark of registered people on the webinars. I don't know how many on IG, Clubhouse, and TikTok, and all the multiverse and multi-platforms that we're on. But I just want to thank everyone. Gratitude's the greatest lesson I've ever learned. If you say thank you before you go to bed and when you wake up, I promise your life will change. Greatest thing about saying thank you, it takes 0.1 seconds. And it, as far as I know, is free. But it is the most impactful way to change your life. So I just want to remember everyone, say thank you. I am so grateful for you being here. The question is, what's an adaptable routine? So there's a non-negotiable routine that says, hey, these are my non-negotiables. For me, it's a minimum of an hour a day on my health. That's non-negotiable. That's primary. That's first. If I'm healthy, I get as many wishes, asks, hopes, and dreams that I want a day. And if I'm not healthy, I only have one. So I put that as my defined non-negotiable routine. Then my family is next. And I put time as a dependent variable, as mentioned earlier, to each individual that's most relative to me. Minimum of 30 minutes with my wife, minimum of 30 minutes with my 12-year-old, minimum of 2 minutes with each of my daughters, 23, 21, and 18. I asked for 5, they gave me 2. They're better negotiators than I am, but yet the consistent, persistent 2 minutes a day, worth more than 2 hours on a Saturday. And then the non-negotiable of a minimum of 1 minute a day with my mom, to tell her that I'm happy, healthy, love and appreciate her, healing all the interference that existed previously in our relationship, simply by making sure every day for 1 minute or more that she knows what she needs to know and what she wants to know about her son, that I'm happy, healthy, appreciate and love her. And then a non-negotiable, which leads into the adaptable, the non-negotiable of studying time, studying my calendar, paying attention and giving 5 levels of intention of what I do, say, think, believe, with lenses of productivity, accessibility, and gratitude, to be efficient, effective, and statistically successful by prioritizing what's most important to me. But guess what? That well-developed plan, those non-negotiables, they always are and have to be adaptable. Why? Because if you want to make God laugh, come up with a well-developed plan, come up with a stringent routine. It will cause God to chuckle, laugh, and holler at you. So in order to accommodate the all-knowing, omniscient, omnipresent that protects and promotes you and illustrates that or indicates that with pain, setbacks, failures, and mistakes. So what do? In order to adapt to it, we create an adaptable routine. And the adaptable routine allows us to reprioritize by asking ourselves with those lenses of productivity of, okay, in what prioritized order am I providing value? And in accessibility, to what prioritized order now, according to the laughing or the circumstances or the new pain, setback, failure, and mistake that is protecting and promoting me, what do and how to prioritize the accessibility of me to others, and how am I accessing what I want? Who can help me? Who can I help? And how best to get it done now? The adaptable routine is determined upon 5 daily practices in that routine of knowing and reprioritizing what's important to me. And most importantly, in the adaptable routine is gratitude. Gratitude, finding the light, the love, and the lessons. Well, if you are a toptimist like me, if you're an optimist like me, then you will be able to find light, love, and lessons in everything. It's just a matter of time. But since we're limited by the 24 hours, time's a dependent variable that we've discussed earlier, since we're limited by the 24 hours, you need to have a spectrum, an adaptable routine that allows us to prioritize our gratitude. Because we can't spend our entire days finding the light, the love, and the lessons and everything that bleeds us. In fact, that's one of the biggest nuances that people do in their lives is they spend too much time trying to find light, love, and lessons and things that bleed them when there's so many things around you that feed you, and that you would get an exponential result, a compound interest, an aggregate effect, and acceleration towards what you want if you utilize an adaptable routine to prioritize with gratitude, accessibility, and productivity, especially gratitude to find the light, the love, and the lessons and feed that which feeds you. That's what the adaptable routine is. The ability to utilize the lenses in order to effectuate the limitation of time of today into a trajectory of aggregate effect, compound interest, and acceleration to what we think we want, by not thinking we know what we don't know, by not living in arrogance, instead living in ignorant humility that we don't know what we don't know. So therefore, we're going to utilize pain as an indicator, setbacks, failures, and mistakes as an indicator to protect and promote us, not to punish us, not to spend our time trying to find light, love, and lessons and things that bleed us. You don't have to do that. There's too many options, too many opportunities, and too many touches of favor in an abundant world. So utilize those effectively and utilize an adaptable routine on top of your non-negotiable routine, and you will be more productive, accessible, and gracious. You will make more money, help more people, and have more fun. Jiggy Biggy, I got time for one more person, and then I'm going to let you close out the room because they're waiting for me for a speech and book signing down here in Barbados. So let's make it happen.
Perfect. Let's make it happen. Noah Crane, welcome to the Clubhouse. If you want to unmute yourself and share your takeaway of the week.
Hi, great. Thank you, Jake, so much. Thank you, David, for all your wisdom always. I love gratitude. To me, it's just incredible. And for me, it's just to be intentional with what I do every day. And what I do is I used to work out in the morning, and now I realize that it's more important for me get my business worked on and to do things that are a priority, and then I'll leave my workouts for the end of the day because I feel that works better for me, because I get tired sometimes when I work out and I feel like I'm less productive. Some people are more productive when they work out. I feel like I get less productive. It's about knowing myself and knowing what works and making it a priority to get the things that are important done. And you feel good when you get things done. So that's what I can share for right now. Thank you so much, Jake and David and everyone in the room.
Oh, thank you for reminding us about the importance of gratitude. But more importantly, what I love about your share is something that took me years to understand. And that's everybody's not me. Just because I have an unwinding routine, just because I wake up at 4 a.m., just because I love to meditate when I first wake up to transcend the recovery and access that I get when I unwind, just because I love to work out in the morning and I feel better, doesn't mean that everybody does. Just because that lesson that you just shared resonates so much with me doesn't mean it's going to resonate with everybody. In fact, it will automatically resonate with about 10% of the people in here. It will automatically be like Tabasco on a wound. It'll automatically separate 10% of the people, and they'll completely disagree with you and not understand that everybody is part and parcel, but different and the same and connected to and through, even though they don't like or dislike the same things. The consistent message, though, is the 80% that exists in the middle are on the spectrum of resonance in that frequency and have a possibility or even a probability of understanding, connecting, and aligning with their own awareness that everybody's the same and everybody's different. And that we all are the same in the fact that we want to be happy. We want to learn lessons and have fun. We want to make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun. Or maybe we don't, but we all are the same, that we are one. But within the context of one, we are so different as we make one. And the differences lie into what best resonates with us. And working out in the afternoon resonates with us. But I believe that our existence, our health is primary. That I believe that, but that doesn't mean that health Doesn't mean, what if your perspective is that you value not living over living? That you believe beyond any doubt that the next life is better than this life, then why waste your time on this life? Why waste your time? And I'm okay with that. I used to not be okay with that at all. People that believe that this life wasn't everything and that we can't do the most we can in this life. But I'm okay with people that, because I don't know. The only reason I tell people that there's even an afterlife is I don't know, but I know for me, it's more positive to believe there's a life after this one than just thinking this is it. It seems to be more abundant, appreciative, and more valuable in a value add world, not a zero sum world. A value add world seems much more of a value to me than it does to other people, or the same. So I want to appreciate the takeaway that everyone is the same, but everyone is different within the context of the same. Just like my takeaway, it's not easy to be at ease. It's not easy to be at ease. Let's all live ignorant humility. Let's all ask for help. Let's all show up as a community. Let's all be grateful, forgiving, accountable, and inspired, effectively communicating not only with each other, but with the great source, the omniscient, all-powerful, all-knowing source, to improve, to accelerate, to grow towards a trajectory of what we think we want for us, not for what other people want, not what's missing, not what you don't have. This is David Meltzer. I'm going to turn off the room for Jakey Bakey to close it out. Maybe he can give his takeaway for the day. I want to say thank you to everyone for showing up every week. Please reach out to me. If it's free, it's we. Just email me, david@dmeltzer.com. First name David at first initial D. Meltzer is like seltzer with an M.com, david@dmeltzer.com. Thank you so much. Remember, everyone, be more interested than interesting. Be kind to your future self and do good deeds. Thank you, Jake.
Thank you so much, David.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We are here. I appreciate. Thank you. Thank you.